A very good evening, everyone. Once again, welcome to the Understanding Life Skills Interaction session with eminent personalities and unsung personalities from around the world. This is Prashanti Vinod, and joining with me is Divyanshu Pandey and Kalika Mathur, the facilitators for the day from Albi Academy. So, today we have a very inspiring guest with us. We have Dr. Seetharaman, sir, joining us from Dubai. Sir is the former CEO of Doha Bank. So we went through your documentaries, we went through your profile, and it was, I guess, all of us are at this particular time, at this age. This is something very important to learn from experienced people like you, sir. And we are eagerly looking forward to learn from you. So I hand over to Divyanshu Pandey to take it over.
Thank you, Prashanti. Sir, it is indeed our honor to have you amongst us today. I'm definitely sure that this will be a great learning experience for all of us. Good evening, everyone joining us live on YouTube. As already informed by my friend Prashanti, Dr. R. Seetharaman is the former Chief Executive Officer of the Doha Bank and is a prominent personality in the banking industry throughout the Middle East. A philanthropist, he's a fine man to interact on a range of issues. We have had a long list of questions for today's session. Stay tuned, stay live. He's also the recipient of the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, the highest honor conferred by the Government of India to the overseas Indians for their commendable contribution to the society. So, first of all, the thing that I want to learn from you as someone who is doing his majors in history and economics is about the idea of a market. Let us begin with very basics. What is a market? What is an economy? What are banks? We realize about the ancient civilizations and how various institutions grew over a period of time. Was market also an institution as old as that of a civilization? How did it grow? When did barter system come in? When did currency came in? And today the transactions are always online through UPIs. I think it will be a great start by if we analyze, if we draw a direct line from that ancient civilization when market was at its infancy to today's time when UPI has become the normal. If you could kindly say something about that, sir, the institutionalization of market and financial structures that have become so normalized that we as ordinary citizens take it for granted.
Good. What a joy to interact with you, Prashanti, Kalika, and Divyanshu. I'm privileged to be integral part of this interesting and interactive evening. Academy of Life Skills-based education is something which is aspiration for youngsters. Life is so interesting, exciting. Every day is inspirational. Every day is motivational. Every day is an opportunity. You know, with the changing face of the world, uh, potentially we are interconnected, interdependent on everything. In a globalized world and a civilization, we live in a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as the Indian Prime Minister always proudly says that. That is our heritage, our culture, our civilization. So we love everybody, as I said. It's all about recognizing the humanity, the human values. And Academy of Life Skills, I had an interaction a couple of years before, Prashanti. Yeah, it was on
Right.
economics. So Divyanshu started with economics. For a change, I'll start with the life skill because I'll come to a subject which you specifically asked. What's more important is recognizing you are everything, and your thought leadership matters. Your thought becomes action, action becomes habit, habit becomes character, character becomes your destiny. If you understand this, you will nurture only good thoughts. The biggest discovery of this COVID as well, again, as a pandemic, human being has got ability to adopt themselves with the change in you know attitude, with the change of mind, and that's what precisely we managed to articulate. We are holding good as humanity with extraordinary set of admiration and love and care. This ability to recognize that it's thought leadership which can drive the change in you. Everything is internal, everything is within you. You decide your destiny. Destiny is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice in substance. So, economics, I'll come in a minute, but it's important that this academic of life skill, education, you can always equip yourself. But if your life skill is well designed to deliver good values, that's why it's important we nurture good thoughts. It's start with what is necessary, what is possible, then you do the impossible. That's what exactly. And throughout your journey, the happiness is the ultimate focus. Whether you are rich or poor, whether you're born in America or New Zealand, strong or weak, or special needs, whatever you're born with, that's an opportunity. You build from there on. The ability to articulate solution, amend yourself time and again through right kind of internalization. And that's what you make up throughout your journey. Lift your vision as and when you grow. And that's what precisely the life journey is all about and the skills required. So, ability to adopt in changing dynamics. That's one important thing. Setting a goal and vision is equally important. Once you set your eyes clearly, like Arjuna, focus. Once you have your goals well defined, measured, as an as a youngster, you can set in your goals, the right kind of thoughts you design for committed ambition. Then you start progressively achieving it. Success does not mean absence of failure. You will have gap in your performance. What we need is hard work, commitment. Hard work is not an option. You tax your body, you get fitness. Tax your mind, you get knowledge. You keep digging yourself. In today's context, we with the changing face of the world, as I said, people find they want instant gratification. They find if there is vacuum, they find it boring. There's nothing as time is limited. You've got limited space. Nothing is permanent. You have a lease of life in this planet. You have a social responsibility. You have family. You have bond with siblings. You have committed values for you to internalize and evolve yourself. So, ability to integrate your heart and mind is eternal. The value system never changed. Human design has not changed, right? So, ability to recognize this and setting a long-term vision. If you aim at short term, you cultivate flowers. If you aim at medium term, you cultivate trees. If you aim at eternity, you build humanity, right? So, it's important that we recognize this life skill and again set in the kind of a positivity within you, Divyanshu and Kalika and Prashanti. Set in a right kind of a positive thinking. Convert negatives into positive. Put it into auto mode. Say you're born with strength and weakness. Education, experience, environment are all integral part of the overall evolution. You don't get everything what you want when you're born with, right? You're grateful to what you have. Whatever be the circumstances, whatever be your education, whatever be the experience which you're going through, from there on, building a base, setting a goal, having a long-sighted vision, ensuring you adopt yourself, so having a clear discipline. Discipline is happiness, end of the day, right? Then you can achieve. And when it comes to education, it's a lifelong learning. And that's why it's inspiration for us to recognize, you know, I keep discovering my ignorance. By interacting with you today, I may learn many facets of life. So, 10 years before, I was finding my ignorance in different parts. Today, I'm after retirement, the new phase of life. It's so interesting, so exciting. In fact, again, learning becomes my primary focus. So, continuous education, that's very important. And you are contented with what you have and you're happy. And you're happy because you are contented. And that's the drive we need, right? So what we need is to not to bank on destiny. Destiny is, as I said, you decide and define and have discipline in your framework. Happiness is within you. The peace is within you. The look inward, look internal. That's why I use the word integrating your heart and mind, and keep your consciousness alive. If you start answering truly to yourself, that's what humanity is all about. Our evolution, if you look at it, it's a passing phase. What is 100 years, even if you live? Just like that, it will flash. It's an opportunity for us to incrementally add value to this planet and pass out. Elimination of extreme poverty, gender equality, you know, bring in, global warming and climate change to a sustainable level. That is carbon neutral world we are all aiming at around the world. So that is one of the important missions you should have. That's why United Nations have set in an important, lifelong journey for development goals. Millennium Development Goal has become Sustainable Development Goals. These development goals, again, inclusive of healthcare and education, universal healthcare, universal education in an interconnected, interdependent one world. And that's what exactly it's important. What is important is to develop your personal consciousness and ensuring that you incrementally add value to you on a daily basis. That will stimulate you. Nothing is boring. Every day is inspirational, every day is interesting, every day is exciting because so much to learn. And the lifelong learning is a process. That's why when Prashanti asked me, I said, okay, I'll come to interact with youngsters because I'm going to learn from you. Don't think that I know very many things. I don't know. That's the reality. So we keep continuing education as a primary focus and ensuring education does not mean good judgment. That's where the life skills comes in. Say education and meditation, again, this is one step further, is complementing each other. I got a gold medal in my graduation in University of Madras in 1975. Education gave me gold medal. Meditation gave me golden moments. Education gave me who I am. Meditation gave me who am I. Integrating in my heart and mind, meditation gave me, right? It's education perhaps given me the job eligibility. Meditation gave me the life flexibility, as I said in the beginning, adaptability. And that's the synchronization we need. It has to combine, converge within yourself, then you have a goal congruence. At the same time, introspect yourself. Don't do sins, like Mahatma Gandhi said. Wealth without work, pleasure without consciousness, right? Commerce without morality, science without humanity, politics without principle, religion without sacrifice, knowledge without character. These are all sins. That's very important that we recognize we don't do these sins. Keep improving yourself on a daily basis. And life is so interesting, and every day is motivational for you to prosper. And that's what the primary interaction I want. Now let's come to the specifics which you asked. Hope I have not turned the table as such. It's important that the purpose of this session is to pick up the threads. You have enough Googling to do. Google will tell you what exactly, the answer which you asked for. I don't need to add value. Perhaps from my experience, I can share. Let's not go for the ancient, how the market makeup. That's there in the history books. You can, look at the managerial economics in multiple forms. But what's important in my lifetime, especially in the last 20 years when I have seen the global financial crisis, when I was running the enterprise for 20 years called Doha Bank. It's a Qatari-based financial institutions operating in 20 countries. Extraordinary sort of experience. When early part of my career, out of the 40 years of my financial service, was more structured, more measured. The crisis gives you an opportunity for you to learn. Okay, as a qualified chartered accountant, getting into the big fives, understanding the dynamics of it more so in terms of the market makeup was rudiments. Production or consumption or exchange is always happening around the world. Distribution takes place. So the economic fundamentals are by and large available for you to learn. What I experienced is to recognize every crisis is an opportunity. And I started my career uh, in a big five and started learning. Even though I'm an accountant by profession, my passion was more towards technology. See, with the changing dynamics, you will get opportunity. That's what you should look at. In today's world, digital advantage, you and me are interacting. So in late 70s and early 80s, it was an opportunity for me to recognize the the ability to adapt yourself towards technology was a major focus. Financial engineering is what I opted. So getting into audit firms and start validating the transactions or ensuring the authenticity was not my focus. I said, let me add value in terms of assurance. How can I transform the report selection? How can I give them advisories to transform the bank or any institutions where I was auditing? So my focus was more towards financial engineering, and that's what exactly the learning curve. That it was easy for me to move across in terms of innovation. Innovation you can do in any form of profession, whether you're a doctor, whether you're an engineer, you're a chartered accountant, or a businessman. You keep innovating. That's an exciting opportunity for you. It means you have to have fresh perspective, and that's where the market dynamics will have a differentiated approach. So when it comes to learning financial engineering, I was in a position to advise the chief CEO of a bank that how he should you know adapt himself with the interactive institutions, how successful institutions have redefined themselves in terms of transformation leadership. So I was in a position to support the decisions through finance, through technology, through financial engineering as a convergence, and that was my starting point. So let me finish up to year 2000. 2001 onwards, it's a different world. The extraordinary opportunity for me to recognize that even though I got a very big break when I was doing financial engineering at a young age to run institutions, the real transformation came in 1997 when I was transforming an institution and trying to improve the market value of the shareholders. It's a public limited enterprise in Oman. So when there is an opportunity for me to transform another institution in Doha, I stepped in. Globalization was coming in, technology was converging. So I said, if an institution has to survive, the business model has to be truly global. That's the market momentum. Whether you're sitting in, Qatar, whether you're sitting in India, whether you are sitting in America or Australia, you have to uh, create values in terms of global business model, and that's what the lesson I learned. So that's where I started redefining the policies, procedures, process. So what you need is ability to change things and adapt yourself with the changing dynamics and pull the team as with these changing dynamics towards the vision convergence. Your team has to converge with you. Then the market is yours. The market share becomes yours, and that's what the history I've had. So in terms of the history of banking, which you specifically asked, it was an interesting evolution. Say in today's context, it is a digital world, right? So gone are the days as a banker when bookkeeping was manual. Everything is now computer assisted. Bookkeeping is happening. So what do? You don't write anything. You have your technology, which is enabler. You have uh, means of communications through internet, mobile. So the digital advantage converging the customer as one. Whether you are a corporate banking customer or retail banking customer, whether you're whether you are a treasury customer or a private banking customer or investment banking customer, you are a customer for me. I'm able to interpret the technology, whether it's artificial intelligence or machine learning or the what you call blockchain technology, distributed ledger. I'm able to connect the customer and understand its behavior, and offering solution, customized solutions. That's what the market today's context is all about. So it's important that Divyanshu, that it's not the history which matters to us. History is important. Tomorrow, future becomes a mystery. What is important is the present. In today's context, it's important that we understand we live in an interconnected, interdependent market. It's one market. What happens in one part of the world resonates in the rest of the world, with the stocks, currencies, commodities, bond, properties. Now, as we speak, today is Sunday, it's closed. By this time, tomorrow, you will have early morning, and if I'm in Dubai, I switch on at 4 o'clock. The China is on. India will be, or Japan is on, or Australia is on, right? So then comes India will be on early morning. By the time I finish Middle East market, when I say market, it does not mean only stocks, capital market. Again, debt papers. That's a major part of credit creation for corporates. So medium of exchange is money, right? Currency is a barometer of an economy. That gets changed, right? Every day it's changing. We heard about Adani a couple of days before. Uh, True or false? Time will prove. It's unsolicited, one-way street. Somebody else wants to, uh, you know, put this report and demean the market. The market regression for that group was $50 billion, right? It one stroke. Somebody has, done the damage. I'm sure ethical and moral governance will prevail, whatever be the facts. But the market has got an impact. The capital market has got an impact. That's what I want you to articulate. That's what the currency has got an impact. The overall, if you look at the big picture, what's happening in one part of the world it resonates in the rest of the world. So I go around 10 o'clock to Europe. Then again, in the afternoon, in the Gulf, we watch US markets. So 24 by 7, the market is on in structured forms. If you're an investor, you have to watch everything, whether it is cryptocurrencies, which are all digitally governed, which I don't advocate as a solution. It's from my personal, professional perspective. But currencies are changing, commodities prices are changing based on demand and supply, on the overall market sentiments, or the debt papers, the credit risk premiums are changing. So that's how the dynamics are evolving on a daily basis in the market. So I have not answered your historic question, but I am telling you what's happening in an interconnected world. You have to keep watching the global dynamics than you interpret in the local market. I have seen politicians arguing about the currency. In India, is depreciating against the dollar. We are in a transitory phase. We have just gone through the COVID pandemic, and last year was and again transition. This year we are expecting a technical recession around the world. It may be light, but the world economic indicators are compelling for me to say the global growth is just 3 point. Rather, it's if you get 3%, it's highly speculative. 2.7 is possible. Advanced economies are grossly underperforming 1.1%. Developing economies, what you call emerging markets, are doing around 2.7%. The India itself is the best performer within the scorecard, 6.1%. I mean, that's how the economic projections are indicating as we speak. It may change after 3 months. So this is my first answer. Though it's long, I thought I will bring you first to life skills. Then I will enlighten you on the market. And you as young minds should understand what's happening on the financial markets. All dimensions we need to look at for you to understand, because these are interconnected. Currencies and commodities are interconnected in technical terms. If dollar is weak, the commodity prices, oil price or gold will go up, because people will hedge it against the weaker currency, right? So these are interconnected. So that's what exactly it's more important for you to understand than the history.
Right. Divyanshu, you want to add on? And then I'll go ahead.
Nothing, but what I realized from this conversation is, and what I was thinking throughout this is, you talked a bit about introspection before this technical answer, before the technical part. You talked about introspection, you talked about destiny, you talked about having a clear commitment. And this age, the age that we are all right now in, 19 years old, 20 years old, 21 years old. So the idea of knowing yourself, knowing what you really want to do, knowing what you really want to make your profession as, that becomes very important. Knowing yourself is perhaps most important, what my parents have told me, what my grandparents have told me. Is there anything that you would like to say on this? A takeaway for the audience, a takeaway for us on the importance of first knowing yourself, identifying the real self.
Well, knowing your mind, I said, because you're a thought factory, isn't it, Divyanshu? So know yourself. Then I said to you, meditate, irrespective of the religion where you come from. Everyone, prayers are the answers. That is solitude, not you're alone. It's integration within yourself. It's my sincere suggestion to even my own children, right? Integrate yourself. Then you will do it right in the first time. You don't want to experiment and learn, isn't it? So the meditation comes in. Then comes the wisdom. When it comes to wisdom, people are having anxieties. I'm seeing youngsters. I have been visiting European campus, four campus. I come to India for universities. Latest one I did was Shastra University. I was addressing them for the convocation on November 20th. I go to around the world, US or Europe or India for universities, and I see children are restless, youngsters are restless. They miss something, that is the integration. That's why prayer, I said, once you start doing prayers and once you start measuring your mind, your own behavior, and answering yourself, that is consciously, say, the wisdom will start within you. You will recognize it. Wisdom is, it's not simple awareness. Then you will not worry about the future. See, by worrying, you can solve it, you worry. If you cannot solve it by worrying, then why to worry? Confidence is a norm, not confusion. Respecting the authority is a norm, not rebelling against authority or parents for that matter. In today's context, I've been hearing stories. I hate my parents. Many children say this. Whatever be the circumstances, you're born with certain dynamics. Don't underestimate your wisdom. You are challenging yourself. You are underestimating yourself. That's a poor self-esteem. So it's important that you are sympathetic with striving, tender with those who are young, and again, compassionate with all. These are dynamics you have to develop because at one point of time you will go through all this, right? I was young like you. I was struggling hard. My father was a teacher. He couldn't educate me. So I have to do my homework and support myself for my education. You have seen the film, you said. So the drive or determination, the skill development, or for that matter, the compassion, I learn out of my own experience. It's a joy. It's an opportunity. Had I not come across such environment, probably I would not have been at the age of 35 running an enterprise, right? When I could accomplish at the age of 40, 42, a biggest enterprise I could run globally in 20 countries I was setting up, purely because at a young age I had this opportunity to experience this. It's not clinical. No book will tell you. So what I want to tell you is wisdom is very important. Keep equipping yourself. Mind you, happiness is within you. If you want to be happy, you can be happy, Divanshu. You don't want to be happy, nobody can make you happy. Nobody can upset you either. This you have to, think over and again and again. Again, the anger management, the youngsters, wherever I go, I don't know, the new generation of 1.6 billion people, they're always angry. Because again, the dynamics have changed. Now, if you're composing yourself, if you sit and meditate, if you have time to think for yourself, you will understand how silly it is. It is costing you dearly. It costs you a physic. It's you drink a poison. You're passing negative chemicals within you. So anger you avoid. These are the things takeaways I can tell you that will drive you for more productivity, performance, positivity, and you radiate. See, once you are positive, you will only radiate positivity around you. Everything is because of you. That you have to realize. That you have to realize. It's not your father, it's not your mother, it's not your teacher, it's not your siblings. It is you who is responsible for your destiny. Nobody else. It takes time. That's what I want to, from my own experience, I want to share with you.
Thank you
Go
so
ahead.
much. Yeah. So just to follow up from perspective of adaptability and change. So how do we train ourselves to first accept these changes and then adapt to these changes? Like be it a personal level. Now coming from like I've been totally pampered in my family right from my young age, and coming from Bangalore, staying here independently in a hostel. My parents living like 400 kilometers away. It's again adaptability. So it took a lot of time for me to accept these changes in order to adapt to these changes. So how does an individual, how well can we accept the changes, adapt to the changes, be it an individual level or even in a corporate level or even in a macro level? The environment is continuously changing. The technological environment, the social environment, the cultural environment, the political environment, it is also continuously changing. So as businesses, as entrepreneurs, how do we adapt ourselves? So like these are two questions that I would like to ask.
Sure. See, it's important that change is constant. It's every dynamics is is changing every day. Nothing is permanent, right? You get you know you get to adopt, as I said from the beginning. The first word I used is adaptation. We can adopt. We should change. If you're rigid in your adaptation, your ability to articulate solution is limited. As a person, for example, dynamics are changing. You said you are in Bangalore. Your parents are in wherever you are. You have to accept the change and start setting a bigger goal. What's your purpose of life? Simple. You want to accomplish something. You want to incrementally add value. I said the last part first for you to work back. That is why I said we have to think of others, global phenomena. When we pass out at some age, as life itself is a lease, I use the expression purposefully to see that you understand the purpose of life. Because if you don't change, now for example, I was a village boy. I can only share my experience, right? That's what you want me to do that. I was a village. I don't know even how to speak English. I was reading in Tamil medium. My father was, putting me in the village school. From there, I went to best school in a nearby town. That also Tamil medium. We didn't have an opportunity to study in English medium or other languages. Now, what do I do? But I had a bigger vision. Okay, yeah, I have to be something. I wrote when I saw my circumstances. I wrote in a piece of paper what I want to be when I was young, and I was moving towards the goal. Okay, I need to educate myself. I should not be a dependent. I should adapt myself in any environment. Okay, we didn't have capacity to pay the school fees or bus fees, so I joined in the hostel. That adaptation change as an individual, right? Then again, when it comes to college, I was studying in Vivekananda as well as, you know, in my hometown. I qualified. Then I became a chartered accountant. After I be qualified, I know education is ultimate. So I adopted myself with the changing dynamics and equipment. And from there on, I never look back. I know in the current circumstances what I'll be achieving. If I go out of India, what will be the value proposition? What should I sacrifice? What should I gain? Then I took this initiative. So yeah, that's where your change comes in. So if you're in a position to constantly adopt yourself, that's flexibility, life flexibility. That's very important. Don't be rigid on anything. Don't have preconceptions, prejudices. So as an individual, you adopt. That is easy for me. For example, when it comes to corporate life, you can look at my website a year before. I had all sort of nationalities working. I'll give a simple example, not to self-adulate, but I want to tell you the example for you to understand. I mentioned that even though I qualified as a chartered accountant, my passion was more towards technology. In 1991, in a bank, the general manager hired me and said, "Listen, I want you to, this project is on hold. The core system implementation was on hold for nearly 6 years. It's my objective. I have recruited you. If you can do it, do it. If you cannot do it, tell me now. I want you to, can you take the leadership? You don't have the experience. But I find leadership in you, spark in you. Can you go and take this project?" I said, "Are you authorizing me to handle this project?" He said, "Yes." He's a Scottish gentleman. People who are more experienced than me. I won't use the nationality. He's from a different nationality. So he's the head of IT. I was a chief executive representative to implement the computer system. So I went there. He asked me to get out. He asked me to virtually, he said, "Get out." Who sent you here? What do you know about the system change? So we couldn't do it for 6 years. Mind you, you're coming to a person who has worked in banking technology nearly for 35 years. You're a kid. Virtually, I was. I was very young. I was 30, 32 at the time. So he was right in saying that I didn't have the experience, which I acknowledge. But what I said to him is, "I will not move. I will stand here." And I said the quote to the general manager, and I said, he used substandard language, and he asked me to, you know, leave or you'll shut the door. That was the circumstances. So where my ego should not play a role. I only said, what's my bigger goal? I need to implement a system. I made a commitment, and I have got full authority from the general manager. So I called the CEO and I said, "Listen, this is what is happening." He called him, and he lifted the phone and he banged on his in my face, saying that this guy should get out, otherwise I'll resign. This is exactly the technology head statement. He worked with me after that 8 years. That's a different issue. That's happened. He ridiculed my nationality. He ridiculed my experience. Everything was there. It was an absolute insult. Now, I can be angry. I can be tolerant and look at the bigger picture. So, what I did was took this as a committed mission. And the general manager came and he resolved the issue. And he said, "Listen, let him sit in the shop floor." And he said, "I'm not responsible for this project. If there is a mess up, this guy is responsible, and you are responsible." He was challenging the CEO as well. The CEO had full confidence in me, and he gave me the responsibility within a period of what was not done in 6 years. I did it in 9 months with cost saving, which runs in millions of dollars. So then I was the head of that, function, not only technology, what do you call management services. That's where I moved in the ladder straight away. And I was running banking operations, technology, retail. Then I ran the bank eventually in 1997. So what I'm trying to say is ability to adopt is constant. Always you have to go through that. When it comes to Doha Bank, I didn't go there to run the enterprise. I went to just to support the local. There also there was a huge challenge because they hired me to transform the institution, not to run the enterprise, because which I have already done at a young age. So they looked at my experience and they defined their challenges, and my job was to transform the enterprise, and I have to adopt myself. In the process, the board found that I was competent enough to run this enterprise than anyone else. So they gave me the responsibility. I never looked back. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're not adopting yourself in personal life or professional life, there's no gold congruent. There's no way you can be a successful entrepreneur. This is my personal experience. So then and there, I'm quoting my own experience for you to recognize it's possible. Everything is possible. We see the possibilities, not the problems. We see the gain, not the pain. Understand this.
Thank you so much, sir. So now that we're talking about hurdles that come along with entrepreneurship, an entrepreneur is always on the brink of a precipice. It is basically the road not taken, and the success rate is an all-time low. So, what would you like to convey to all prospective entrepreneurs that these are the hurdles, the expectations, while they prepare for the worst and hope for the best?
Good question, Kalika. See, I said this at the beginning. Uh, Success does not mean absence of failure. See, you're all in different walks of profession or same profession. You are not guaranteed on anything, right? When I go to bed tonight, I'm in transition. When I wake up tomorrow, I feel myself who I am. You're taking risk. It doesn't mean I'll not sleep. So life is full, to laugh is a risk. People will think that you're underestimating someone in a conversation. To cry is a risk because people will think that you're sentimental. So what is more important is to recognize everything is risk integration, risk versus return, right? So the setting a goal and recognizing there is a measurable risk and mapping this risk into your pathways. Plan A, if it works, this is the option. Plan B, if A is not working, plan B you have. But you have to necessarily understand without risk, you don't accomplish anything. Yeah. If you're an entrepreneur, if you want a fixed income, you grow in the ladder. Your ability to innovate is the ignition in a risk management. Your ability to introspect and adapt yourself is the ignition for you to be successful as an entrepreneur. And your ability to be constantly measuring your performance and making sure your critical paths are identified and you are mapping in terms of risk. You may not have access to finance, but you have to find a way. So today, you look at many examples. All these technology companies who have done exponentially well, what was their story? Even we are talking about Adani. 40 years of look at his ability to adopt himself in very many projects. Ambani, for that matter. Small entrepreneurs who are all billionaires now. The story today, how many startups, India is progressively building entrepreneurship beyond definition. Indian entrepreneurs around the world, Indian professionals have become very strong entrepreneurs around the world. I've seen it in over 100 countries with my own eyes. The culture is good. We have ability to adapt ourselves because the dynamics, your environment gives you that. So believe in yourself, map your risk, measure your performance, everything will fall in place. But what is important is not to bog down by challenges. Now, if you want to be specific case studies, I mean, I'll give an example. I was running a bank, and there was another bank which came to a business combination, merger, amalgamation. The chairman of the bank was very concerned whether this combination will work, and it has to work with the different price norms, with the definite price norms, and the value of the shareholders should go up. All that I did at the time, whatever the money I had in my account, I gave it as a personal guarantee. It will be successful. Now, you may not be doing this, but I was confident of myself that that's a reassurance. He didn't ask me to sign the personal guarantee. But when I said, this is the what bank balance I have, I'm putting everything at stake. I'll issue a personal guarantee as a banker. This project will succeed. That's it. That's the drive and determination and the confidence I had in me. Now, young entrepreneurs, how will you do it? You believe in ideas. You believe in innovation. You believe in hard work. That's why I said life science is more important for me to navigate you for question answers. Because once I set the ground rules ready, right, you will be in a position to pick up the thread. It is important that you have to have the drive and determination. Then you should not look back. Now or never, you keep moving in the right direction. You can always take employment. That's not, if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to experiment yourself, take the measured steps, map the risk, you will be successful. Right, Kalika? You believe in it, believe in yourself. You want to become an entrepreneur?
Absolutely, sir. Definitely.
Okay, very good. Good luck to you. If you
Thank
need
you
any
so much.
assistance, I will mentor you. Don't worry. Let me know what projects you are doing, any one of you.
It's a
If I can
privilege,
assist
sir.
you
Thank you so much.
now, I am nurturing thoughts now. I have registered sustainable development missions. In India also I have, I'm doing it. Here also I'm advising the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs throughout the Gulf on gratis. Just I help them to become successful. Young minds like you are the fire. You are the future of the world. So get on with it. Yeah.
So one more
Next.
thing, right, sir? So you talk about entrepreneurship, believing in yourself. So how to be good leaders and what actually leadership is? Because if you ask me, I don't know what leadership is. I know that he or she is a person who commands, who mans, and who takes the team together. But what actually constitutes leadership? This may sound peculiar, but it involves a lot of
No,
crucial
no, it's a
ingredients.
basic question. And it should. My
Yes,
mother,
sir.
who was managing 4 kids, is a leader. Leadership
Yes.
is not a corporate designated position or a function. It is, see, when you typically take a corporate enterprise, you have shareholders, right? Till last year, I was running the enterprise. I had shareholders, right? It's public limited enterprise. They are one stakeholders. My staff, thousands of staff around the world. I said 20 countries. So, I need to make sure I take care of them. Being a public finance, I have regulators, right? Central bankers around the world. It's not only Qatar, but wherever I have branches, I have society at large. I have my family, the work-life balance. This all are leadership. Please try to understand this. Leadership is not a package. It's not a matter of pressing a button, pulling a lever, scanning profit and loss account, shouting this and that. It's an ability to take care of all the stakeholders and gives a balanced growth is leadership. I can be personally very good at my profession and exponentially grow and lose my family life. That's not leadership. I can take care of shareholders, I deprive my staff, human capital. That's not leadership. I take care of shareholders as well as staff. I'm not taking care of society. At what cost I'm doing? Is it socially responsible? Now, in today's context, much more, right? Social commitment is very important. Social risk management, as they call it as. So leadership is all about, and if you're a homemaker, like my mother, your mother, or whoever it is, they are also leaders. We don't know how they manage it. I used to come at 10 o'clock in the night and tell my mother I have not eaten my dinner. Within 15 minutes, food will be served, irrespective of her conditions. What is there, what is not there, that is her problem, but it will happen. That is leadership. Is not as structured, typical silver bullet tool. So let me put it this way: if there is righteousness in your heart, Abdul Kalam, there's beauty in your character. When there is beauty in your character, there's harmony within you in a home. When there is harmony in a home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. That's leadership. So it starts with you. Leadership is purely your character. Character is a combination. It's not one single way of thinking. So that's what you have to understand, admire, and start developing. And it could be anything. You can be empathetic. You can be compassionate. May have drive, as I said to Kalika. You may have determination. You may be setting the goals. You want to have balanced growth. You may have focus, right? You may have uh, clear introspection to measure and manage and control things. That's also part of the leadership. These are all various, you know, wheels of leadership. It is a character in substance, and that will make a difference in terms of leadership. How balanced you are. That's why I gave an example of, you know, multiple stakeholders. Okay, Divyanshu. Next.
Yes, sir.
You
And
can
if
go on. I
I
don't have time because today since Prashanti asked me, I have to go only at so local time is 7:30. I have time up to 8:30.
So I won't take very long, but if I just
You
may
may
take
have to, yeah,
1 minute.
but you can
Yeah,
ask me any more questions,
yeah.
any number of questions. I have no issue.
Thank you, sir. So something on a very personal basis. I don't know if Prashanti and Kalika or any other audience will relate to this, but it's the idea of failure. An idea of failure at the age of 18, 19, 20, when we are at the brink of the precipice, when we are at a crucial juncture of our career. What happens is, if I be very honest, that I have taken up a project, I have had that determination, I have put in my faith in the success of that project, but something goes wrong. I failed to complete it. I failed to take it to the heights that I had expected. And then there's a fall, a big fall in that, a big fall in my positivity, a big fall in my enthusiasm, and a question that if the idea or if the project was up to any good, or if my enterprise is up to any good. I think this is something that many of the teens or my friends might relate to. If you could say something on that, because you mentioned Kalam himself said that failure is like first attempt in learning, but the practical aspect of that and how to take it ahead.
No, it's very normal. Stories like this are very, very normal. Say, you take any successful leaders, they all have failed. You don't get instantly success, right? So you can get get it right at the first time, provided you have a deep insight into you. That's the process itself. So, so the pain is certain when it comes to any form of action, personal life or professional life. Suffering is optional. Suffering is optional. Whether you want to take it or not, it's up to you. Failure is stepping stone, as I said. Not only Abdul Kalam, everyone who experienced will tell you. I'll give you an example. You think I was a gold medalist in commerce graduation. I failed in my chartered accountancy in the final. The, I don't have any future left out if I don't qualify and start earning. I cannot even feed my family. That was my circumstance. I failed. I passed all the groups except one paper. I don't know how, it's a mystery today, even today, but doesn't matter. And I was only, instead of seeing it in the rank list, I saw the number and I was searching and again. And how can I go and get back to my parents or my struggling father or mother? This news, option number one is to bog down and give up. Option number two is to have resurgence. Which is the better option? That's where your character comes in. Don't expect success instantly. If there is a failure, so be it. You learn. What are the lessons learned? First time, second time, third time. You take a number of times. Persistence and determination is ultimate. This is what exactly universities should teach. Uh, Wisdom, not trade. See, trade you can always, the technicalities I can share it with you. That's why I turned the first 15 minutes for nothing, life skill, because if I answer all your questions, it will be a textbook stuff and you'll go home. I failed on my CA. Then I came back. Then I never looked back. I wanted to compensate for what I lost in terms of time, so it happens every time you invent a product. It may not reach out, the way you want it. You understand this. Don't spare yourself till then. Keep working at it. It's possible. As I always say, it's see the possibilities than the problems. So it's not uncommon for me to see the failure, not you or your friends. The project has failed. Why? Is your design is wrong? You have not done the feasibilities. Don't you know the critical parts? So how can you make it unique? How can you make it unique? Think about it. There is a way out. Don't say there's no way out. Where there is a will, there is a way, they say. So, see, it's easy for me to say after uh, retirement, after enjoying my success. But behind this, there were enough pains, which I shared it with you here and there. It was not an easy ride, but this is this is what exactly made me possible. See, had I not been, if my environment was not as tough as it was when I was doing my school, you saw the biography. I was running 9 kilometers or 8, 9 kilometers run the exams. The fire in me, the determination in me was to make sure that I have to deliver. I have to get the admission. I have to take care of my parents. I don't want to be dependent. That drive was there. What was there at the age of 13 or 14 or 15 was there when I was, doing at age of 37 or 42 when I was taking my mission to take it to next level, the enterprise. That will come with you. That's where you have to develop that. Be resilient. People start a life at the age of 40. They've gone into even, without solution, they've gone into all sort of nonsense, depression. Youngsters, young minds, please believe in yourself. Instant gratification is not there in life. Don't put foreign substance in your system. There's no need for it. Failures don't get bogged down. You can change your lifestyle. You can redefine yourself. You can transform your personality by introspection, right? Somebody takes intoxication as a solution when there is a failure and he gets addicted to it. But the same thing you can cure by thinking, what is solitude? What is prayer? You are alone, thinking about why it is not working out. What's the reason? How do I fix it? Instead of having a temporary cure, you have a permanent solution for your own problem. I mean, I'm just giving an example. So don't get bogged down by challenges. Don't get bogged down by failure. I can share many examples in my personal lifestyle, life journey as such. That's what makes you resilient, right? So life is full of opportunity. These failures are giving you good wisdom. Learn from it and then research with energy and enthusiasm. Life is yours. Beautiful.
Absolutely right. So thank you so much. Now that you're talking about resilience and optimism to come back after failures, because that is the most difficult part. Accepting that you failed, accepting that you lost some battle, coming back again is a courageous task to do. So when we talk about resilience and optimism, how do you think that we as individuals and as adolescents primarily can cultivate that? How can we cultivate the life skills of resilience and optimism?
See, don't read only those who are successful, their story. Read those who failed and then become successful. Understand these dynamics of it. It's optimism. Life is full of positivity. You have to understand these dynamics. As I said, Vivekananda saying, strength is life, weakness is death, expansion is life, contraction is death. So, what are you worried about? It? Your age is growing. Nothing is permanent in this planet. I'm 63 now. Come April, I'll be 64. The important thing is for me to recognize that I keep discovering the opportunities from now on every day. Optimism is always there. If you're wise, you will celebrate even. See, in my last day in the bank, I mean, it is a video recorded. I relinquished my responsibility. I came to my team members around the world, right from Sydney to Toronto, and I shared with them. I said, "Listen, this time I designed the succession, and then it's time. Let us celebrate my exit. The exit has to be celebrated, right? I had a way of thinking, a way of life. Daily routines were different. You know, today the lifestyle is different. See, that's where your adaptability will come in, change management will come in. We have so much to accomplish in your life journey. So optimism should always be embedded. Andrew Carnegie is a classic example. Again, see the positive side of everyone. Life is full of opportunity. If I interact with you, I'll see the positive side of yours than the negatives of yours. Don't blame anyone, blame it on you. Move in the right track to correct yourself, and then courage will come. Everything is a reflection of your internal integration. Again, courage to accept failure, courage to accept rejection, courage to accept my mistakes. These are, life skills. So you will get your courage, you will get your optimism. So, Kalika, please try to understand. Life is so productive, positive. I don't know. 63 years for me went like a dream, just like a flash. It's just like that. And I am, and when I interact, I know I don't want to say that I was coming in a plane from London to uh, this destination. A well-known businessman son was sitting next to me. I asked him, "What are you doing? I know your father." Oh, yes, sir. I met you in my father's cabin. So 7 years before. I said, "What are you doing? Are you taking your?" No, I'm coming to. Where are you going? I said, "I'm coming here." What's the purpose? I asked him. No, I feel tension. I said, "Are you not supporting your father?" I asked him. He said, "No." So what are you doing? He said, "No, I'm doing nothing." Then how can you have tension? No, that's why I'm going to relax. For relax for what? Then throughout a plane for nearly 6 hours, I was talking to him if I can add value to him because I felt so sorry. He's the only son who's supposed to manage his enterprise, his father's enterprise. He's a billionaire. But this is the case. He has got money, he has got 10 cars, he's got everything, but he's not happy. So, how will you explain this? How will you explain this? So that's why I said it's within you. Then we had dinner. Next day he called me. I said, "Sir, can I have dinner with you?" I said, "Okay." Then again I spent an hour with him, an hour and a half, and I was trying to. He's a different man now. Last 1.5 years, he has been a very successful businessman. So sometimes you have to think deep, have a deep dive. You need a mentor. See, you need guidance. You're all good. All are good. All are excellent. Your strength and weakness, you start analyzing it. Understand that you can convert your weakness into strength. Strengthen the strength. Everything will come.
Right, sir. His Swamiji used to say that there are three things in order to excel as a human: head to think, heart to feel, and hands to work. We have a lot. We used to have satsangs and discussions. Even Swami Bodhamayanandaji Maharaj from Ramakrishna Math, Hyderabad. We all used to have these discussions. And the thing is, we all have doctors, engineers graduating from top universities, MITs, IITs, whatever, name it, sir. But if there is no head to think, these three H, which is the formula for human excellence, then it doesn't add value to that. But so the question is, can human excellence or life skills be taught to a person, or should that person go through the experiences of life and that's how a person learns it? Like, can failures be taught to somebody? Like, this is how it looks, this is how you will feel, this is how you have to get out of it. Like, can it be taught to somebody? Or should an individual go through failures, or should an individual go through courage, the moments where that individual transforms and then learn it?
See, that's a beautiful question. See, as I said, experience, education, environment. Environment, for example, you said Ramakrishna. Now, if you teach the Vivekananda's, if you read the Vivekananda's teachings rather, it may not strike within your system in one stroke. The environment can facilitate. See, it's a process again. It's it's the circumstances. The good institutions can mold you. Good house can mold you. Good educational institutions can mold you. People come from certain, education institutions are always outstanding, right? We know because the design and delivery is quite, rich to enrich your knowledge. So the ability to articulate solutions when there are challenges is what the lifelong journey is all about. It's beautiful game. If you characterize yourself and start jotting down strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats wherever you are on a periodic basis, you can prosper. I don't think, uh, you know, see, if you're not in a position to understand yourself, then you need a guru, you need a mentor. In business, also, you need a mentor because experience is wisdom. School of thoughts are different. So, with the changing dynamics, you don't want to lock into a situation where conventional wisdom becomes a liability. So, there are new entrepreneurs, their ability to articulate solution is faster. But for example, the way we do the business has changed, but old values are not obsolete. Ramakrishna, Vivekananda still exists. Ramakrishna still exists. Their voice, they live without form, right? Ramana Maharishi still exists. Love for all, serve for all. What a one word which will make a difference. See, love is life, hate is death, as you know. If you start liking anything what you come across, you will adopt yourself. Full stop. I want this, I want this, I want this was one way of thinking. I'll take that's why I said in the beginning, start with what is necessary, then what is possible, then you will do the impossible. So it's all interconnected, Prashanti. So the solution is within you. You can redefine yourself in the changing dynamics as long as you have willingness to work, and ability to recognize the change and adapt yourself.
Right. Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So we also have a question from the audience. It's again a technical question. Adarsh Agarwal asks your views on Government of India's initiative on introducing sovereign green bonds, wherein these bonds will be used to bring resources for implementing climate and sustainable development related projects in India. My question for the honorable guest.
Sure. See, India need. See, if you look at I'll put a bigger picture for you first. I'm a macro man. Around the world, I travel and experienced. The carbon emission is a major issue. Global warming, energy, environment sustainability is a development goal as a UN Charter. Now, carbon emission, if you look at it, 27% of the carbon emission is from China, 15% from you know US, 10% from Europe, 7% from India. If you look at the energy mix, India has got renewables are now coming, solar, wind, right? So it's all happening. Now there is a hydrogen solution as well, converting all sort of transformation in the energy mix is required. Converting from fossil fuels to renewables is a must, so that we breathe a clean air. I mean, you have to reduce the carbon emission. You can't create carbon neutral society in the next 50 or 70 years. It's going to be a tall order. But every country has adopted green mission. India has adopted in COP 21 in Paris in 2020, 2015. The Prime Minister has committed and he is progressively building towards, and he has accomplished most of the goals. Energy mixes are also changing now. As now, green bond is a tool. See, I was a practitioner as a banker, finance person. When it comes to green mission, one of my PhD is on that, from Sri University. Uh, Lending or investments, a portion of the risk-weighted capital should be allocated for renewables, solar or water management or waste management. Now, bond is a debt paper. Indian government has issued first. It's late actually. Green lending principles are happening. Every single country, developing countries are issuing, right? In this part of the world, Gulf, we have many green bonds. Banks have issued. So better late than never. So India has issued, and it is useful for investing on sustainable development projects because this money will be collected, will be channelized towards lending or investments for projects which are sustainable in nature, which will reduce the carbon emission. So it's a good thought, but India should do further. Green lending principles should be formalized, and the banks. This is what exactly I was in Pravasi Bharatiya Saman. Uh, this year it took place in Indore, first week of this month. I was telling the minister who came, Mr. Anurag Thakur, that we should have a policy and impose on every bank that a portion they should invest in green bonds or green lending for project specifics. Fund these credit creations in such a way that we will eventually bring down the carbon emission. So it's a good development from India's perspective. It's a progressive commitment is required from all the stakeholders, including banks, in this direction. So that India, see, if you look at the carbon emission, top 10 cities, three or four cities in India is there unlivable. It's very difficult. Children are, you are paying the price for it. It's your world. So you have to take it on hand. And this is what I request all of you. Please get on with it. This is very important that, green mission is the prime mission we should have. Next.
Right, sir. And I hope Adarsh that answers the question. So Divyanshu. So Kalika, do you have any questions, or before we conclude the session, do you want to say something to say?
Yeah, now that we're talking about green economies, sir, when we view it from a trade-off lens between development and environment, it's a very common notion of trade-off that for development we are compromising a part of our environment and vice versa. Do you think that a green economy is actually going to happen in near future, or how do you think is it going to be possible from the Indian context, the lens of the Indian context?
Kalika, it's a very good question, excellent question actually. See, if you look at the industrialized nations, they all have become rich because they have emitted so much carbon. And that's why I gave an example of even the last 30, 40 years, China has emitted years with so much advanced technologies, their emission was substantial. Growth versus green emission, you can balance. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice the growth. Now, I was telling in 2006 and 7 around the world, I was going, and this is a technical presentation I did on global warming and climate change. It's my understanding you can simultaneously balance the growth. How? Sustainable development is all about not economics. I use the expression economics, ECO hyphen nomics. It's a convergence because you, if you emit carbon and still produce, and you look, the productivity is improved, your wealth is getting accumulated, but you are paying on healthcare, you are paying on, other areas. It's costlier. So the best is embrace nature. Now, what is solar? What is wind? These are, again, converting the seawater into drinking water. Desalinization is a process which the Gulf states, there is no water here, right? So we adopted ourselves. So these technologies are available. We are into conventional wisdom. That's why I said even we, I'm sure India has got right leadership now, and things are changing now. And I've seen a lot of successful entrepreneurs getting into this kind of business because green is here to stay. As long as the world exists, sustainable development goals should be accomplished. And global rising sea level, increasing temperature, animal extinction, name it. It's extraordinary. We are not protecting our children and grandchildren. You guys have beautiful world. We are destroying it. As human activities are mainly responsible for this. So that's why it's important. Focus on green mission. Growth will come. It's a balancing factor. You're not compromising on growth. There are you can map the growth with a green mission. These rest are all technicalities. I can tell you how successful business models around the world now. Now, digital advantage itself is successful. Paperless system, right? Everything is e-commerce now, online, real time, e-commerce. Transportation, you are reducing it, right? Look at the changing dynamics. The modern methods are very much there. Now, Sweden has become cashless society. India should become cashless. The more we embrace nature and accept systems which are environment friendly, the growth will come. Where the growth will go? So it is. It's the resistance is only ignorance. So I'm of the firm opinion. I've seen global models, successful models, whether it's transportation, whether it is various sectors. Industrialized nations, there are they have created models which are successful. Europe is a classic example again. Their green mission is solid. They said fossil fuels will reduce, will switch on to renewables. They will use solar to a large extent in in every dimensions, every sectors. It's contributing now, and they are on track. They are on track. So I'm sure you can have a balanced growth by economics, not necessarily economics. What else? Divyanshu, if you have any questions?
So, not as of now, but it was very well talking to you. I was constantly thinking on many of the things, trying to relate it to my life, my situations. I think all of us were doing the same thing. And yeah, I just paid the best attention that I could because it was all very relatable and somewhere very important for us to know because as I mentioned and as I firmly believe that we are at the brink of the precipice, a very crucial juncture of our life. So uh, we got to
It's a
know.
beautiful
I mean,
moment now, defining moment. You're all in youngsters, and I'm confident you will have a better world. Not only we have to create a better world, as I always say, a better citizenship to this world. So there's a saying I did in when I was doing my United Nations conclusive speech on in 2012. A good person can create good society or good corporate. Group of corporate can create good society. A group of good societies can create a nation, right? Then it becomes United Nations. Change starts with you, my dear Divyanshu. So you have to think. That's why I overruled you first when you ask for market. Market you will get in any textbook stuff. Without me, you can. But my experience is what I wanted to tell you. If you remember few lessons out of my own stories, or if even if you have future any questions you have, please feel free to reach me out. And definitely, if I can help people to transform and change and they become more successful than me, that's the best gift I can give to this world, isn't it? Now, man, that's my commitment from now on. Whatever I did in my profession, I got rich to what? Now what is ahead of me is to see that the future generation is well off than the present. Correct?
So, if I may just add on to that, currently I'm in my fourth semester. When I was graduating my first year, the head of the department, I always used to take keen interest when somebody was there on the dais and was sharing the words of wisdom. She mentioned something on the eve of Women's Day when she was being introduced, the way I introduced you about your accomplishments, that you have received this PhD, this medal, you have been the chief executive of this huge enterprise. She said that it tells me what I have done. It does not tells you who I am. So that distinction, I'm still waiting to share a moment with her and ask what she really meant on this. That how important is to know people who I am than what I have done. That's the soul crux that you mentioned. That what we can learn from you, from your experiences. So it was very good interacting with you
Absolutely.
and
Not only that, just to add to what you said, you mentioned that I received this, I received even Pravasi. Pravasi is not what I received, it is for what I gave to society. You see what I mean? See, my receipt, recognition is incidental, but it is the biggest honor I have had. Okay, I don't value anything. If someone asks me which is the best recognition you had, I got it from my country, right? Not Washington or not European University or other recognition around the world. What I got from my home, from my own president. But that's for what I gave. So you always get recognized for what you give, right? Give it back to society. Give it back to your profession. Give it back to your any form. You're an artist, perhaps. So it's important to keep giving. The attitude to give, attitude to grab is not, that's always there. It's rational. Your differentiation is to recognize that you are an integral part of the society. You should keep giving, keep giving. Now, the best gift I can give is not $1 million. I can give to you knowledge if I can transform these three, students, youngsters. I have done. This is a day for me. That's what matters. That gives me so much satisfaction. Okay, I guided them in the right direction, and they are more successful. That's beautiful to listen after 5 years or 10 years.
right. So
All
we'll
right.
try our best in that course.
I
And
wish you all the very best. Anything else?
so I would like to now call in Prashanti for the concluding line, sir.
So it's just that, as just Divyanshu mentioned, we are just relating whatever you told to our journey right now. And me personally, I'm very much excited. With all the confidence, I'm looking forward. Be it failures, be it success, nothing is going to be permanent. It's all about what we are going to learn and what we are giving back to the society. If I maybe it's like maybe after 60 years, if I turn back in my life and see, it's not about how many medals or how many awards, who literally, it doesn't, my semester marks or nothing matters at the end. All that matters is how many lives have we transformed. Have I first of all transformed as a human being, and second of all, how many lives have I transformed around me? So I guess that is what is the takeaway from this session. So I would say that I'm very much excited to go ahead in this journey of life with a smile, with confidence, all that you gave today. So I hope all the audience also are with the same enthusiasm and spirit. So once again, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much. I wish you all the very best. God bless you. Take care. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Let me sign off.
Thank you.
It's okay? Very good.
So
Yes.
if you could kindly stay for a moment,